Hi, how are you? My name is Shayan, and today I'll be presenting my presentation on rising rents and the cost of living in Sydney, which is an ongoing issue that's growing every single day basically, and it's affecting middle income earners and it's getting serious every single year. Now, first of all, I'm going to talk about how this is a business problem and in data. So, Sydney's rental market is facing a high increase in prices, and that is causing inflation, and this is having a direct impact on the cost of living, which is a huge part of the population. Middle income earners who typically wouldn't struggle with housing are now struggling to actually afford rent in a lot of suburbs, a lot of different areas. For my analysis specifically, I've used ABS rental index data from 2021 to 2024 as my main foundation. To now, I've also created a simulated suburb level data based on ABS trends, which helped me examine affordability across different areas in Sydney, as you can see in my slideshow. Now, demand and supply factors. So, what's causing these prices hikes? On the demand side, there are a few key drivers. First is population growth. Sydney continues to grow, attract both internal migrants and new residents. So it's a growing country. There's new people coming in. There's population growing all the time. Second, the return of international students has added sudden pressure to the rental market as international students come from overseas to study here. And last point that I've written is that limited alternatives. Now, home ownership is out of reach for many and social housing is scarce. Okay. However, on the supply side, the situation is more tighter. There's shortage of new developments, mostly due to high construction costs and delays. As if there's delays, of course, and there's shortage, it's gonna cost a lot more, and it's gonna struggle. Vacant investment properties also play a role. Many are kept empty or used for short-term rentals instead of long-term leases. Now, to showcase this, I've used tools like Excel, such as pivot tables, conditional formatting, and line charts to map rental trends and identify spikes. And that you can see in my slideshow. Now, how the market structure analyzes this. So now, when we look at this, the housing market in Sydney shows characteristics of imperfection, competition. That means there are higher barriers to enter. So building new houses isn't quick or easy. It takes time, takes effort, and it's hard. So a few developers dominate the space, and supply responses are delayed. So that causes slower build, slower efficiency, and it causes more struggle. And most importantly, housing is price inelastic. So people need a place to live no matter the cost. So no matter what the cost is, people still need a house, and that's what makes it more of a struggle, that the cost of living is too high. For example, in other words, this is like consumers have limited bargaining power. So as a consumer myself that would probably want to go buy a house, I would have limited bargaining power to bargain a house from maybe $2 million to maybe $1 million, which will probably be really tough, especially in the conditions of Sydney now. To showcase this, I've used bar charts to compare different suburbs and lookup functions to pull median rent prices from large data sets. Now, affordability analysis. Now let's talk about the impact on actual people. So between 2021 and 2024, rents increased up to 25% in suburbs. Using the rent to income ratio, we see the most suburbs now exceed the 30% affordability threshold, which is often considered the limit of what's manageable. Now for this, I've created a summary statistics in Excel to showcase the average increases, and I use charts to visualize to show how rental costs have outpaced income growth. Okay. Now, policy responses and recommendations. So, how do we respond to this? Currently, the government has implemented measures like increases to the Commonwealth Rent Assistance (CRA), also known as that, and some state-level incentives to boost housing. But to be honest, these are not enough. We need what I will suggest is that we need to rent control measures. We need to introduce that, and tax vacant properties to discourage speculative ownership. Also, I would provide stronger incentives for affordable housing development, especially in outer suburbs. I tested different scenarios using Excel scenario tables and conditional formatting to see how various policies changes could shift affordability outcomes. Now, in this presentation, I've also utilized employability skills. It's also helped me build practical skills. I've showcased economic theories to real-world problems like demand and supply and market structure, and I also utilized Excel functions such as pivot tables, charts, lookup formats, and conditional formatting. Now, this project helped improve my visual communication and public speaking skills that are highly valuable in the workforce. Now, to wrap up and to conclude, Sydney's rising rents aren't just a market trend. They are an economic and social challenge that requires thoughtful analysis and bold policy changes. Now, the reason I say this is because housing in Australia is one of the most expensive, I think, states or country in Australia, that it's really hard to live. And a lot of middle income earners, like we said in the beginning, are struggling to afford it. Affordability can only be achieved if governments, developers, and communities work together with a focus on both data and equity. And thank you for watching my presentation. I hope it helped you better understand the complexity of the Sydney rental market and possible ways forward.